I want to get this out there because, first of all, it's just it's not good for President Trump's name. Okay, and I've worked so hard for this Trump campaign and many other politicians and I so when you got two people bickering over things, it don't look good, and you know that.
Well,
you're a smart guy.
Okay, so how do you I'm thinking you're aware that I did an interview with Casper last night.
Well, it's what I've been told. Okay, I didn't. I wanted to wait to hear that from you. So
okay,
I tried to do some talks with him too, and it never worked out. So it's okay.
Well, so you're so basically, I can ask you to respond to some things that he said, okay. Or you can just give me, if you want to give me a narrative of.
Why don't I do that, and then I can give you the narrative? How about I respond to what?
Well, so what Casper told me. So, by the way, who is Casper to you, and what's your?
Casper's R.C. Pittman.
I know what his name is, but he, what do you think he is in relation to boots on the ground bikers for Trump, etc.?
He is a to me, what he is the original founder, so to speak.
Okay.
All right. And then I later found out that wasn't true. But to me, he's one of the. I'm going to put it like this: he's one of the founders.
Okay.
Because it all went down pretty quick, Chris. And when it went down, you had the original biker for Trump from Arizona. That's how it got started. It was crazy. It was a grassroots thing, and it went crazy. So, but Casper was involved in that, and he deserves credit for that. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what's your, maybe give me, so Casper gave me kind of the rundown of his role, how you became president, I guess, and I might use the terms wrong, at a time that you were, the leader, the president. Why don't you tell me kind of, because I get that, and if you dispute something, tell me that Casper was the head guy, I don't know the right word, and then he told me, what happened, and then you were the head guy. Maybe take me through what your perspective is on that, on what his role was, and then your role, and then how you became the leader or a leader.
He stepped down. He stepped down. He had some tragedy, okay? And, hey, Chris, if I could sit with this guy and talk, we would still be brothers, okay? But we just can't talk. We just don't see eye to eye. He's so jealous of how I took the organization and made it what it is. But here, I'll answer that. He had his son commit suicide. And I was one of the first guys there, man. Went down there and consoled with him, stayed with him for about 8 days, and we got through that. And then I can't tell you what years, Chris. I don't want to be held to anything like that because I've been through a lot of crap lately myself. But that was many years ago, okay? Then he had another tragedy hit him. His daughter kept going in and out of jail for drugs, and then she just went to hell with drugs. I mean, just so sad. And him and Bernadette got left with, Bernadette is his wife.
Right, okay.
Got left with 3 kids to raise. And he appointed me national president. And then I later got voted as national president.
Now let me stop you there for a second.
Go ahead.
He described that he had been targeted a couple times by like Antifa types, and that there was an accident where somebody hit him with a Denali, and then he got seriously injured from that and has had to go through a series of surgeries himself. I think he told me he still has 1 or 2 surgeries to go, and that's when you became the leader, because he was unable to be the leader because of his injuries.
Okay, well, it was a mixture of things, Chris.
Is the fact that he got hit by a Denali, had serious injuries, and had to get a series of surgeries, is that true or false to you?
Okay, Chris. I don't know who he got hit by. Never went to court. I don't know. He did have an accident. Whether he got hit or he wrecked it himself, I don't know. So I'm not going to say that's a fact because.
Well, but are you disputing that he had an accident and that was serious of some sort, and he had to have a series of surgeries?
He had to have a series of surgeries, yes.
And that it was at that time you became president because he was unable to serve as president because of these injuries.
I would say that's true. Yeah.
Well, Mark, I got to tell you then, your narrative that you gave before I brought that up was not an honest narrative. You said about his personal tragedies, his girl going in and out of jail.
Things, Chris, they were all within. This all took place really quick. I'm trying to remember when I was national president because Casper traveled.
But I don't think you would forget that you ascended to the president. People got shit going on in their lives all the time. I don't think you would forget that you ascended to national president because this Casper guy had a serious accident.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Are you participating in, how do I say this? In destroying my character?
I don't know how one would. I'm asking you questions. The fact that you said that, I'm telling you, bullshitting me is not the way to go to Mark. Giving me an incomplete narrative, trying to turn it into that I'm somehow trying to destroy your character. We can end this right now. I'm as a courtesy talking to you. You already told me you didn't want to talk to me. If you're ready to address things honestly and openly and transparently, I'm all for it.
Shoot, Chris. Go ahead. Ask the
questions. But just so you know, what you just said, the narrative that now you're saying is true that he did have an accident, and there was, you left that out, okay? And that's to me that would be, it would seem to me that would be that the guy was physically unable to be president because of this accident would have been the most important part of the narrative, not his girl went in and out of jail on drug charges.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Next.
Is your real name Alex?
It is.
Smith? Okay. Do you have some felony convictions on your record?
I do not.
You do not? Okay, so
no.
He told me that you had one or more felony convictions on your record under Alex Smith, and you used the name Mark Smith so that you're saying that's a false statement that he made to me.
That's a false statement. Matter of fact, okay, how do I get on the motorcade and be checked out by the Secret Service 3 and 4 times a year?
Okay, you're saying that that's a false statement that and I would say so. I don't know whether it's a true or false statement. I just interviewed Casper last night. Frankly, I'm trying to remember because I appreciate you reaching out to me. I'm trying to remember things he talked about because I have a few notes, but it was a recorded interview. You know what I'm saying? So I'm remembering things that he talked about. So he said so another thing he brought up was that you had that in the time that he was, unable to perform as president,
right.
That there's things that are, he said that were maybe on the eye of the beholder, he felt you neglected the organization and that there were more inactive chapters. And I don't really want to go there because that's hearsay. But he said part of the issues was that with you was that you had been doing things like setting things up and selling merchandise.
Never.
With the Bikers for Trump logo and name on it, that was not that wasn't being part of the regular organization.
I never did. Okay.
Now hold on. He also said that you very carefully, when you did these things, had other people set them up. So are you aware of any LLC that was ever set up that was being used to sell boots on the ground Bikers for Trump merchandise that was not authorized by the national organization?
Okay, they are not a national organization, okay? And we did set it up under our name. But there was an LLC set up. It was
selling merchandise.
Not really. Here's what we did, Chris. We were purchased how many shirts? It was like $1,600 worth of shirts. And what we did was we were going to sell those to help other individuals attend rallies and this and that. And some of these guys, Chris, don't have any money, okay? And everybody wants to help, and everybody wants to do this, and that's what we did. There was really nothing made.
So why did you need to set up an LLC?
Because we were going to take this to another level. We were going to do that. We were going to try to. We didn't have any money, and we were going to try to get shirts and try to help people get to the next level. We did Christmas drives for people.
Okay, so I'm just being Mark, I'm a very black and white person. I'm very, take me, a lot of people could take me the wrong way. I would be the same way with my mom. But we have another case here where you started out with, didn't happen, to, yes, there was an LLC. We bought $1,600 worth of shirts, and then telling me what the proceeds were going to be for.
Chris, I never once said there was not an LLC.
Okay.
I did not say.
Okay. I think I asked you, did you set up an LLC? And I think your answer was no, but I'm recording, so I can go check that.
We did. Okay, we, as Russell and Mary and myself. Okay, I did not control.
So Casper told me. Okay, so Casper told me that, and that's why I remembered to come back around. Is that you never do stuff directly under your name? You have other people do it.
Well, so I want you to help me. So you made a point a few minutes ago. Don't lie to me. I don't want to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, go ahead.
So then he claims that he claims you were voted out of the organization, whatever that means. I don't know how a vote's conducted and so forth. Would you say that's a correct or false statement?
That's a false statement. Okay, on his behalf, it's probably true. On my behalf, I never had any opportunity, Chris. I never got a notice.
So you never had any due process?
Never invited. I never even knew why I was being voted out.
Okay.
I've never...
So hold on a second. So it sounds to me like you just said, I never knew why I was being voted out. It sounds to me like then what you're now saying is you were voted out. It's just, but that in that process you were not given any notice or due process.
I was never given due process.
By the way, I'm totally for due process. That's why I'm bitching about if you're going to endorse somebody for a candidate, you should have all the candidates that are considering running or running.
You know what, Chris? I know what this is all about. Okay, but I want you to still hear my story, and I still want you to make your own decision. But look, I had no idea about endorsing Greg for anything. Yeah, it was going to upset the world. I would have never done it. There's no way I would have done it if I had known it would set that kind of fire. But I need your help. You know what? I want you to hear my side, and I know you. I've read your stuff. I follow you.
Okay.
You'll make a decision.
So back to these things. I just want to kind of rail off these things real quick, just the kind of what you agree with, don't agree with. It sounds like, would it be fair to say, but what you're saying is there was some process by which you were voted out, but within that process, you were not treated fairly or given any due process.
Okay, there was a process.
Okay.
I'm not denying that, okay? I was told this, okay? How about that?
Okay.
I was told to held a meeting, and I was voted out.
Okay.
But I never had any due process.
I think that's reprehensible. That's that's not American, right? You have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to be, a fair defense. You have a right to know what you're accused with. But the point is that I'm not, part of the process of how this operation's governed. It sounds like what you're saying is they did do something where they voted you out, but the thing that they did was very unfair to you.
Unfair to me and the organization.
I agree with that. It'd be unfair to both to do that. So then the next thing is that there were allegations, and I don't know that I heard from Casper black and white, backed up facts. Although they did send me a bunch of paperwork. But was that part of the issue was that there was allegations of missing money or money that was diverted or money that was taken outside the organization? How do you react to any allegations of any financial malfeasance or doing things outside the organization?
Here's how I answer that, okay? I never did. I would love to see evidence. I've contacted lawyers months ago, and that was their first question to me: is there any evidence? I said, I don't know of any evidence. I've never taken any money. So that's my answer, Chris. I've never taken any money.
Well, that's a statement of you personally, okay? But
yes.
but it does seem that from what you've already said, you were running an operation where you were selling T-shirts to raise money that was being used for a purpose other than your own enrichment, but that was outside of the normal circle of visibility to the overall organization.
Not under their flag, so to speak.
Okay, and do you consent? Now, I think Casper, I don't remember asking him this, but I would think he would say, like, you can't do that. You know, you can't do things that involve money. One thing he was very particular about is that they have to be very careful about this stuff because of being associated with the president. Anybody doing anything that looks sketchy or bad, you know, he seemed to be very big on, we have done a lot to make sure nobody does something that could affect adversely our reputation or that of President Trump. And so part of that thing, like these side projects, setting up an LLC, he you know, that's where he's questioning.
They knew I did it. Okay, they gave me permission to have patches made. They gave me permission to have shirts made. Okay, they gave me permission, and that's why I'm telling you. Where's the evidence?
So now I'm not knowing, you know, like a lot of things can be verbal, so I'm not asking this but always if you had concrete evidence of that permission, like here's a note that Casper sent me saying you go ahead and do it.
I can dig through some text messages from
so if you have something like that, you get what I'm saying is, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, anything any of us say could be true or false, but nothing helps to corroborate a story like there's some evidence. Like here's some email, here's some text messages, because then I can go to Casper and say, are these your wife's text messages, or, you know, get what I'm saying? It looks here like, because just like I'm questioning you on some things, I'll do the same thing the other way. Like if there's, you know, in there, but that's the other thing. He went into a little bit about, well, he said that you previously, I don't know that this is relevant, but that you previously had done pretty well as a like a used car salesman or hit some used car lots or something like that. Is that a true statement?
I've worked in the car industry.
Okay, I don't know what I'm just I don't know how it was particularly relevant, but I'm just confirming that that's whether true or false what he said, because I'd written down.
I wonder what that got to do with anything.
I don't know. I'm just so he had he said. That you were now I remember, because I'm remembering while we're talking, because I just interviewed him like 9 o'clock last night. You know what I'm saying? And
can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Wonder why they haven't officially tried to file any charges.
I don't know. That's a good. I mean, I can ask, but
well, that's what my lawyer wants to do.
Okay. So I know why he brought up I don't know what the point was of the cars. As that the insinuation, I believe, was that you could have been involved in narcotics, and that moving cars on car carriers is a way that narcotics gets moved around. Have you ever? This is a tough question here. Have you ever, in the last, let's say, since 2016, and I'm not saying you were before then, I just want to make it real, been involved with anything involving narcotics or illegal narcotics?
No.
Okay. And let me look and see, because I did take some notes when we were talking here. And so how this kind of schism, now I'm going to ask you just from your perspective, because obviously there's a schism, because you recognize that Casper at one point in your relationship, you had a good relationship with him, and that he was the head or what have you, and then it's all gone to hell right now. In your mind, what's caused it to go to hell?
Chris, I wish I knew, okay? I would fix it tonight. I'd fix it right here. I would have you play the middleman and stand in for a call. I had a guy named Don do that with us. Hang tight. I had a guy named Don do that with us, and it lasted about 15 seconds because I couldn't get a word in. Casper can be very...
okay.
He just won't let you get a word in, okay? But, what went wrong is things were going good. And Chris, you're no dummy. You've been around. You've seen some of the. You had to have seen us at an event or this or that, or know somebody that knew we were at events. And we've done some good work, and that has been my goal. And to say tarnish Trump's name, I would never. Okay, I've never worked so hard for a politician in my life.
Okay.
And I'm guilty of a few things that members are mad at me about that left my side of the road, okay? And I'm guilty of this. I smelled pot one night at an event, and I said something to somebody. And all hell broke loose 2 days later that I shouldn't have talked to them like that. And I said, look, we're here representing certain individual, and you don't do that.
Okay.
And I'm just giving you examples, okay?
Okay.
And I be a little.
So I guess what you're saying is Casper would tell me how important it is that the organization Boots on the Ground, Bikers for Trump, maintained didn't do anything that could cause aspersion upon the organization or President Trump. And in your guys' credit, there's lots of organizations that have been around Trump that end up imploding, right? Because somebody in a leadership role gets out of control, that kind of stuff. And at least at the surface, the Boots on the Ground Bikers for Trump is, you don't see an expose on how it was being used for some nefarious purpose or anything like that, right? You guys have, I think, you guys have maintained a clean image. So I think that what we're talking about here is you said that you were, again, like you smelled pot, you want to get rid of that and so I think Casper would probably say the same thing, wouldn't you? Like, we got to stay away from any of the shit that could get us in trouble. Yes,
he would have. Okay, he had nothing. He wasn't even there. What I'm telling you is, you asked me what happened. Okay, what happened? He wasn't around. Okay, like you said, the daughter, the son, the accident. They weren't around, and they seen things happen. When he was on that ride, when he went on that ride, it's called the Four Corners.
Oh yeah, he mentioned that. He mentioned that.
Okay, we did a rally up in northern Ohio, and we were really involved in at the time. And it's been some years back. We got in, and it was really the first time, Chris, that the Trump campaign treated us really, really well. Okay, they made us good seats and fed us and this and that. And I think Casper got a little sour that he wasn't there. Okay. And then it wasn't long after that he had his accident. And then I was appointed the national president. And then later I was elected national president. So I want to throw that in there because I was elected national president.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Chris, I put my time in this organization. I used my own money many times. I got sick, okay? I hadn't worked in a year and a half, okay? And, there's been a lot of things happen in this last year and a half.
Okay.
And as far as the T-shirt sales, they knew about it.
Okay.
Everything was fine. Everything was fine until a couple of members got a little sour about these events where we do security or escort or we help campaign. Some of them don't want to be involved in that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And they're not able to attend. And then they see these big events happen, and Chris, they don't get a ticket to it. They get sour. And they got mad at me. So a lot of stuff happened in the last few years, yeah. But, I don't know. I don't even know.
So he would bring up.
But I don't know where this goes.
Let me ask you just a clear. Right now, I'm just getting. I don't know where it goes either, but I'm just getting clearing up things he said, and I'm remember them. So you mentioned, the Trump campaign treating you good, at an event in northern Ohio, and so one of Casper's things was he said to me was, nobody ever made any money off anything, but generally speaking, the Trump campaign treated us good, put us in good hotels, let us play on the golf course. Like, we were always treated good. And so then what came up with Casper was specifically then your relationship with Eric Dieters and the Freedom Fest, and that the Freedom Fest became a train wreck. And, obviously that was associated with that your leadership wasn't where it needed to be. And then particularly that one year it got canceled and a lot of bikers lost money on it because they had done Airbnbs and stuff like this.
Okay, all right. Can I say what can I say my piece
Sure,
on that?
yeah. That's what I want you to do.
Yeah, we did the Freedom Fest, Chris. There was 15,000 people there. Not one punch was thrown. So there was no train wreck. The only train wreck happened when one of the members, the night before the main event, okay, was partying, and I had made him leave. And his wife got upset. So maybe they heard something there, okay?
So I'm talking about, I think the Freedom Fest, I don't, I never went to it, okay? I've been aware of it because you see it advertised.
Good thing.
But that it was maybe 4 years running, year one was good, year two was good, year three was the canceled year, and then the last year, and then there was a year where the attendance was really poor because people were, still smarting from the canceled one. That's kind of my understanding. I might not be right, but it's not just one Freedom Fest. It's like a series of them, and it went to the one, and the one that got canceled was what particularly hurt the bikers because they had made Airbnb reservations and stuff like that. So is that your understanding too? There were 4 of them, over 4 years this happened.
It was 3 or 4.
Okay.
The train wreck never happened. Okay, that's what he's upset about too. Okay, they came up and see. Eric put me in charge of security, and I say me. Okay. Not Casper, not his wife, not Florida, Cincinnati, Ohio, okay? Put us in charge because we knew all the people. We knew what to do. And we kept, and I know the other biker world.
Well, why do you think that the one got canceled?
Had something to do with Eric Teeters. I have no idea, man. I don't know.
So, okay. And then it's a true... I don't, I never went to one, but whoever the guy was that owned who had the Trump shop on Beachmont Avenue.
See, I don't know that.
I don't know the guy, but I remember being at something there and talking to somebody, and they brought up that they had bought a shitload of merchandise for the Freedom Fest, the last one where I guess something happened, but it was super poor attended, and so they had a shitload of merchandise left over because there wasn't a lot of sales there.
It wasn't like the year before, Chris. It wasn't 15,000, but I bet you it was 10,000. And to speak up for them, they didn't have the big name speakers that year.
Right.
So it was a little off.
And I don't know. Would you say unequivocally that none of the stuff with Eric Dieters, did you personally profit off of? By the way, I'm not against people personally, people's time is valuable. So I'm not I don't like it when people are like, oh, it makes you bad, But there was no under the table stuff going on financially.
Not one dime, Chris, not one dime, and that's where I don't know. See, this is not the first time I've heard this, so I'm kind of glad you're involved in this.
Okay.
Okay, because you'll listen to both sides. I never, ever took a dime. I bought my own food. My little brother drove up from Tennessee. I slept with him one night. We only stayed one night. My brother stayed 2 nights because he didn't leave that night. Casper and them's a little sour because they rented rooms and it got canceled. But the year that we're talking about, okay, I bought my own food at the food trucks. I didn't even take a dime, and I don't get this.
Okay, and there was no. Okay, so you're not, it's okay. So, who do you think right now is, So if I listen to Casper, he would say, I guess I don't know that I actually asked him this, but I guess it's like he's the president again or whatever. Who is the You could correct me because I don't remember that I actually asked him this, but basically you're voted out. He's the president. And he told me there's another person, I believe, named Brad Green, who's recognized as the chapter president in Southwest Ohio. That's his narrative.
Not with me. He's not in my group.
Okay. So you're okay, but that's what Casper told me. As far as you understand, that's what Casper would believe. You might dispute it, but that's what Casper. I want to make sure I'm not misquoting Casper.
But hey, that's what Casper would believe.
Okay.
But does Casper know that he sold his patches?
Okay. But so where, and you would agree that there is a national boots on the ground Bikers for Trump organization?
There is no longer, no.
Okay. So okay. So the local chapters don't derive any authority from recognition by a national organization. That's your position at this point? There is no national organization that sanctions or recognizes local chapters.
I don't see any filing. We're the only ones that's filed.
Okay, I don't know that answers the question. I mean, so forget about legalese stuff. My understanding is that back in the day, there's a national organization. You were president of that national organization for a time.
Back in the day, yes.
Okay,
back in the day.
And that organization, recognized or sanctioned or whatever the right word is, local organizations. And I think Casper told me at one point, I guess at a high point, there were like 40-something local organizations or something. And that's wherever that is now. So how would you say, so at one point there was that concept of there's a top, and there's a president, and then there's local organizations. And now how would you say the structure is?
I don't know. Right now I just speak for myself as Ohio. I don't know how it is right now because here, for one, let me put it out there to you. I would think they probably have here in Cincinnati with Brad Green 10 active members, and
okay.
I may be a little high. Their page will show 43.
Okay.
I stay on top of it. I watch it every day because I want to see. I want to see what's been said and what ain't, because I'm sick
okay.
of it.
But just we can go back there. I just want to make sure. So at this point, you would basically say, you can every chapter is just its own thing at this point, because like the national organization in your view is effectively not the governing body anymore.
I don't think they are. Yeah, they want to be, but I don't think they are.
Okay. Are there other chapters that you believe would have that same view, that there's no authority from that, no authority from some higher chapter? We're just our own thing.
There are 2 other chapters that are with me. Yes.
Okay. And so I saw that on. What's your relationship with hold on, Bobby Miles?
Bobby is a member of ours.
Okay. And you filed on May 20th, 2025, a trade name registration in Ohio, correct?
Bobby did, yeah.
Okay.
Bobby did.
But you were involved with that?
Yes, I'm involved with it.
Okay, why did you do that?
Why?
Yeah.
Because we wanted the name. The name, we seen that they voted me out, supposedly, okay? So we went to the records. They didn't even have the name.
Okay. So your view is that at that point you're voted out. You feel that was an unfair process.
Totally
unfair. And so now you begin to basically form your own standalone organization with legal filings for the name in Ohio and so forth.
Yes.
Okay. In the unfair process, do you believe that had you been given due process and been allowed to represent yourself, based on your statement that you were not given due process and you weren't even given notice, do you believe that had you been given due process that you would not have been voted out?
I do. Because I think we could have brought this to the table, all of us, because there is no... When I told you just a moment ago, he may have 10 people. Okay. I think if I sat down with all 10 of those, just like you and I are talking right now, at the end of the day, we can work through the differences.
Okay. Most of the time that can happen, right? This filing was on May in 2025. So when was it, I know you said you can't remember exact dates, but generally speaking, how long ago was it that they claimed you were voted out? 2023, 2024, Like just the general, when were you voted out?
I've heard two different stories, okay? I've never been given, out of the 10 years in this, maybe almost 11, I got what's that called? I'm lost for words, man. The rules and bylaws.
Okay. The governance for the organization.
Yes, I've never, ever received a copy of bylaws.
Okay.
And nor has any of my members ever received a copy of the bylaw.
Okay.
So that goes back to what I'm trying to say. Due process. I've got family members that are in other biker organizations.
Okay.
And that's why I'm so strong about this respect thing, and so strong about taking care of this name on that.
Okay. So you're just so I understand right here. I don't 2020. When you think the vote was, where you stated you weren't given notice and so forth. When do you think that was? 2024, 2025, 2023? Like how long ago?
And they may have tried it two different times. I don't know. There was one in April, May, June, somewhere in that time frame right there.
Of 2025 or 2024?
2025.
Okay, so this filing of the name registration is, so obviously it was probably, if it was in 2025, it was probably before May 20th, 2025, because that's when Bobby Miles filed for the name Boots on the Ground Bikers for Trump in Ohio. Is that reasonable?
I don't know. I can look and see.
Why would you have gone and filed that it would seem to me like if I were in your position, after I got voted out, I'd be like, holy shit, I'm going to get this name here because these people are crazy.
Now I got some dates for you. In March of this year, March, we had a meeting at Seven Hills, Harley-Davidson.
Of Cincinnati people or national people?
Cincinnati people.
Okay.
There was 42 members there.
Okay.
Brad Green was the national vice president at the time.
Okay.
His wife, Kelly, was the secretary. She took notes. We brought this up. We were going to form our own organization.
Okay.
And everybody in the place was all for it.
Well, okay. So I'm still trying to figure out, though. So you've narrowed it down to 2025. I'm just trying to understand the big gorilla picture here. So there's some vote that's fair. You claim is unfair, and you didn't get notice. There's something that happens, and you're kicked out, and that happens sometime in sometime in the first half of 2025.
Well, it was warm weather because they came up, so it had to be April, May, June. So
Okay, so that's good enough to narrow it down. Like it wasn't 2023, it was 2025, okay? And so just so I understand, so there was a national organization that you would claim elected you, right? At the time you were elected, there was still a national organization that you recognized as a national organization.
Right.
Okay. And then at some point you get voted out. Now the vote of voting you out, was that at the time you were voted out, did you still recognize, do you believe that was the national organization or that was just some other renegade group? Do you understand what I'm saying? Is there's obviously a point in time when you recognized the authority of a national organization, you had them vote you in. You got voted in by them. Now you have an organization votes you out. Is that the same national organization that voted you in as the one that's voting you out?
Okay, the meeting was in June. June the 9th was the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so I had to look that up.
June the 9th was your local meeting? The local meeting or the...
No, Casper had a meeting.
The Casper getting voted out was June the 9th?
June the 9th.
Okay.
Yep.
And at the time it happened, you didn't even know it was happening. You weren't notified.
Oh, I heard it from everybody.
Oh, you heard it through the grapevine, okay.
Yeah, and I was not invited to be there.
Okay.
And all the time I've been told through their calls and through this, a national president has 2 votes.
Okay.
The board of trustees or the board of directors.
Okay, so that's the thing too. Is you're saying not only were you notified by not being of the accusation of being able to defend yourself, your votes weren't even allowed to be counted. That's what you're saying.
No, they were. They said they had 2 votes. 2 board of directors voted me out. That was the words that came from Bernadette and Casper.
Okay. All right. But basically, I can get at that time, up until that time, whether there's a lot of stress or not, there's a quote unquote national organization. And then it sounds to me, probably, if I was in your shoes based on your narrative, at that point in time, you would be like, F this noise, like this place is effed up. I'm breaking off from them. Right. And so I, Mark Smith, no longer recognize the authority of these national people because I think they're crazy. And they not crazy. I'm not meaning to I think they've done me wrong. And so, therefore, I'm starting my own thing. Is that a fair? I'm breaking off. I'm no longer going to accept their authority. By the way, this has happened a million times in churches, right? This is normal in a church world. There's a higher authority, in the hierarchy of some church.
Chris, I believe we did that before that meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you're saying you started the process of breaking off at your meeting in Cincinnati in March or whenever, where
there was things that happened, and some of those mad members were making posts and videos.
Okay. So you were doing. So by the way, then your things like filing for the name in Ohio. Yes. Would have been reasons why other people might have been like, oh, we got to get him out of here because he's going off. He's going to start. They're starting their own thing there.
I don't know about that.
Well, but you're saying you filed for the name in Ohio through this. What was the name I mentioned? The guy that did the actual filing. You did that in Ohio in May, and the meeting to vote you out was at Bobby Miles did that in May, and you've got voted out in June. By whatever vote or process that you don't fully know what happened, I'm re-echoing because I'm recording this that you wouldn't accept that process was done fairly or justly whatsoever. It
was totally unfair. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So for right now, what do you see your scope of authority being?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm trying to keep things together for Ohio.
For Ohio?
Yes.
And not Southwest Ohio, all Ohio?
Yeah, all Ohio.
Okay. And you said that is it Brad Green, the other guy, he has like 10, on his site or something. How many active members do you think you currently have that see you as the head for boots on the ground Bikers for Trump for Ohio?
I would say a couple hundred.
A couple hundred, okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so help me, what you would like, what do you want to have happen? So you got Casper, this all started over this endorsement. I want to come back to that. What is it you want to have happen with Casper? Leave you alone or reconcile?
I would love to reconcile. I would like the things to get back because I don't want Trump's name destroyed. And see all this damn bickering and stuff.
I want to be very fair in terms of the understanding of this, and that's why I asked you want to reconcile, or do you want to be on your own? Like right now, what's the focus of your organization, Vivek? What would you say is your focus as the?
We're helping anybody we can. Anybody that's Trump, for Trump related, we're helping. So that's
okay. So Trump related to me would be somebody endorsed by Trump would be the first step. They're endorsed.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then you get from beyond there. Because by the way, I think most of our, I dislike most all people in the political class. They're all most of them are pieces of shit liars as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know about Vivek. Vivek, I'm for Vivek 100% because he's an outsider and he's not part of the, even if he's not perfect, he's not part of the normal, kind of like Trump. Even if he's not perfect, he's not part of the normal swamp shitty system.
You know what? Hey, Chris,
yes,
you know
sir.
what? We ought to be allies.
Okay. What's your? I'm not disagreeing with that, but right now. But this isn't the time. That's down the road. So I want to close up with a couple of things. And anything you think I haven't asked you about or talked about, is we can hit. I don't want to leave anything out that just because I forgot. And but what's your, Well, let me start with this GREGG Gentile thing. And I've brought up it's 5.5 months till even the filing deadline to run for that office. It's 8.5 months till the election. There's other people running. It doesn't seem like, it sounds like it would be fair to say that there actually was not a process with these. You'd have to figure out how many bikers were actually relevant to just that race, Clermont County alone or something. But it doesn't sound to me, and I want your honest answer, that there was any process behind that endorsement.
There was not. It was not a fair assessment. I made a mistake.
Okay, I'm glad to. By the way, the number one most important thing, I think, is we all need to be able to admit when we make a mistake. That's the number one thing that holds people back, is they can't definitely. I make mistakes every day. Every day I make mistakes. Okay, so are you going? Is it your intent? I can give you my opinion. Well, how many bikers do you think that you would be a constituency that is Clermont County?
How many bikers do I have?
Yeah, that you would consider to be part of your group that are Clermont County specific.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm just asking for a round number, like, more than 10. What do you say?
Somewhere 10.
10-ish? 10-ish?
Yeah, maybe 15.
10, 15. Okay. So that, is it your intent to do endorsements in county political races for this upcoming cycle?
No. It's not, okay? This gentleman is a cousin to a longtime guy, and I know your stuff with him. I have stayed out of that, Chris. You have not seen me.
So will you confirm that?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, will you confirm that GREGG Gentile is a cousin of Michael Logue?
That's what I was told.
Okay.
That's what. Yeah.
Now, just for, and I don't mean to be, but let me just make sure it's clear on the record. Is it so you consider that any quote unquote perceived endorsement of GREGG Gentile at this point to be that it wasn't valid or it's withdrawn?
I'm going to withdraw it.
Okay. And okay, so that's, and then I asked the second question is it going to be your intent to do endorsements for political?
No, I'm going to stay out of that. I'm going to stay out of that. I made a mistake.
Okay, and by the way, I would tell you, I remember I said I give you my view. My view would be stay the hell out of it. Like it's just a lion's den of people.
I'm going to stay out of it. Yep.
Okay. All right. So the net of this is that
Chris Cox is running for governor. Hell yeah, I'll get on the internet and say vote for Chris and this and that. But I'm not.
Well, I would say, you just told me you're going to stay out of it. But my thing is, I think that based on what you've said, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, if there's somebody that Donald Trump himself endorses or the Trump organization endorses, you guys are going to be inclined to support him, like Vivek. Okay?
I would think so.
Yeah, okay, and if it's, but beyond that, you're going to try to stay out of it.
Yes.
Okay. And all right, so here's the net of all of this is that I think for all the drama, there is a dispute between you and Casper. And I personally, it's not my job to reconcile that dispute, right? It's not my, and it's brought to the surface by this. It's been brought to the surface. And then there is you're withdrawing the Gentile thing. You recognize it was a mistake.
I haven't done it yet, but I will do that in the next 2 hours.
Okay. And I personally think GREGG Gentile would be terrible for that office. However, I think that the bad part is that it's unfortunate what happened because now it would be, so I think you should have some magnanimous statement. Nothing against him, but
I don't even need a mistake. I didn't even talk to a couple of my other guys. I only talked to 2 other guys.
Okay.
So I went about that wrong, and I made a mistake.
Okay. But I'm just trying to say, if I were you, I'd put out, this should not be seen as against GREGG Gentile. It's my mistake, not his, type of thing.
I will. I will. I'll let him know that there was not a vote, and I made a mistake.
Yeah, and then okay.
It's on me.
And then on the dispute between you and Casper and the national organization, stuff like that, it's out there, it's real, it's going on. I'm not necessarily, it's not my role to take a position on your guys' dispute within boots on the ground bikers for Trump, Ohio versus national. I'm interested in it, so I appreciate the discussion, and that's what's been brought to the surface by this is that so I think the net of all this is, and you tell me if I'm wrong, there is a dispute and division between what has been seen as a national organization and what you see as the Ohio organization. You have your perspective. These guys probably have their perspective. The GREGG Gentile endorsement was a mistake. You're going to, if I'm being simple here, if there's a candidate Trump says needs to be supported, you guys are going to support him. Otherwise, you're going to pretty much try to stay out of it.
That's correct.
Okay.
I've add to that several times, Chris. Like you said, you can't. You've gotten in the middle of this, okay, in ways. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to talk to both of them. When I say both of them, Chris, I don't know if you noticed or not, but it's Casper and Bernadette.
I know, okay? Bernadette was in the background. When I talked to Casper.
If I could take Bernadette back, and Casper had nothing to do with this organization, I would do it right now. I would sign the paperwork. I would.
Well, he led me to believe that the only real time I talked to Bernadette when I interviewed him was at the end. He was like wanting to give me like an email address, or something to, if I needed to contact him, and he's like, talk to Bernadette. She does all the paperwork. She's unbelievable at keeping all the records straight and all that kind of stuff, and she'll know what email address you should use.
Right.
So it sounds like she's the administrator that keeps everything moving and all the I's dotted and T's crossed.
She's the owner of the organization.
Okay.
So, that's her label on Facebook. Okay. And hey, I'm gonna tell you what, she's like my little sister.
Okay.
I don't hate her. I got nothing against her. It's a shame what this came down to. Now I've learned a few things in talking to you. These allegations, wow. I'm like, wow, but that's okay,
Well, and I not only would I say it's not my thing, it's like, my natural inclination as a person is that if there's a way I could help, but I don't think it's my role, and I don't think I have the bandwidth anyway. But I think that, to the degree that, if, and I'm not saying they are, but if there were allegations that were true out of stuff that was said to me, then I would think it'd be impossible to reconcile. If those allegations are out of emotion and they're not really true, then there could be a basis to reconcile, right? But when it's being said money was missing and all that kind of stuff, if that, you can't have it both ways. It's either those are coming out of emotion and are not vetted and fact-based, and then that can still be reconciled. It's like a husband and wife getting in a fight with each other. But if it's true or one of the parties believes it's true, it makes it almost impossible to reconcile. But I wish the best that you and Casper and everybody would figure out how to be the most effective you guys can be.
And I meant what I said. Okay, we could be allies.
Okay.
And if you ever need me for anything, you let me know. I would be happy to help you in things.
Okay. Well, I maybe sometime we can have. I don't know if you drink or not, but we can have a beer or something like that. And
there's another thing. I don't drink. Oh my God, man! So,
I know nobody said that. I just today nobody told me you didn't drink. To me, like my thing is just that there's so many people nowadays that don't drink. That I'll say like we could have a beer and they're like I don't drink.
I got nothing against drinking.
I'm an ex-Catholic.
Oh man, you buy me a cup of coffee and a piece of fish. It's Friday.
Yeah, I'm a ex-Catholic, and so I fully believe in pretty much everything in moderation. Drinking, gambling, you don't want to let it rule your life or take you over. But it's okay if you can control yourself, and if you got a weakness, then you got to stay away from it, right? But me, I can't go a weekend without having some cold beers with my friends. It's not going to happen.
Well, enjoy yourself.
All right. Anything I missed or I didn't bring up that you want to bring up?
Not really. I mean, we've talked long enough for today, and I need to rest.
Okay. Hey, I'm sorry to hear about your health issues. Hopefully you have a good recovery or hang in there as best you can. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too.